Long before modern medicine, there was a man who spoke with the dead, healed the living, and taught us how to read the soul of the cosmos. His name was Paracelsus. They called him the Philosopher of Fire, the Luther of medicine, the Archmage of Healing. Paracelsus defied kings, challenged the church, and rewrote the language of science. He cured the incurable, spoke with angels, and left behind a map for those who would dare to heal both body and soul. Stay until the end and reveal the 7 sacred principles of the most famous and renowned doctor in history, who defied the establishment and medieval medicine, who saw illness as a riddle of the spirit and dared to answer it. He was called the Trismegistus of Switzerland, nature's secretary, the monarch of secrets, and the master of the elixir of life. But to the sick and the poor, he was simply hope made flesh. On December 17, 149, in the shadowed village of Einsiedeln, Switzerland, a child was born whose name would blaze across the centuries. Philippus Aureolus Theophrastus Bombastus von Hohenheim, the man who would call himself Paracelsus, beyond Celsus, in defiance of the Roman physician revered by antiquity. He was an only child, raised between the sciences of body and soul. His father, a country physician versed in alchemy, taught him the secrets of minerals, herbs, and the invisible virtues of matter. His mother, the superintendent of a hospital, tended the sick and dying. And it was there that young Theophrastus first witnessed the fragile flame of human life flickering against the dark. As a boy, he found himself drawn not to superstition, but to the hidden writings of Isaac of Holland, a mystic alchemist who sought the divine through chemistry. From those pages, Paracelsus conceived his mission: to reform the medical science of his day, to replace the empty rituals of physicians with a new healing rooted in nature and the soul. He would not serve the idols of knowledge, he would forge new ones from fire. By 1513, not yet 20, Paracelsus abandoned the cloisters of learning and began to roam the world. For 12 long years, his feet became his classroom. He studied with miners in the Tyrolean mountains, learning the hidden life of metals, with surgeons in Italy, where he witnessed the dissection of the human body, with monks and mystics in Bohemia and Germany, who taught him the signs of the heavens. He journeyed north through Russia, eastward perhaps as far as Asia, until at last he reached Constantinople, the bridge between worlds. There, according to the old accounts, Arabian adepts revealed to him the great secret of the Hermetic arts, the doctrine of the fire that purifies both matter and man. It was also said that through the disciples of the Brahmins of India, he learned of the nature spirits, the hidden intelligences of the 4 elements, invisible to the eyes of ordinary men. From them, he came to believe that all creation, from the stars to the smallest stone, was alive with divine purpose. When he returned to Germany, around 1526, he was no longer merely Theophrastus, he was Paracelsus, the fiery reformer whose very name meant transcendence. In his Biographia Antiqua, Francis Barrett appends to the name of Paracelsus the following titles of distinction: the Prince of Physicians and Philosophers by Fire, Grand Paradoxical Physician, the Trismegistus of Switzerland, first reformer of chemical philosophy, adept in alchemy, Kabbalah, and magic, nature's faithful secretary, master of the elixir of life and the philosopher's stone, and the great monarch of chemical secrets. Upon his return, Paracelsus declared war on ignorance itself. He denounced the physicians of Europe for their hollow traditions, mocked their authority, and scorned their Latin dogmas. He accused the apothecaries of greed, of selling death wrapped in superstition, of soothing the body while neglecting the spirit. His temper was volcanic, his tongue merciless, and though his skill and understanding brought him success among the people, his defiance earned him the hatred of the learned. Still, he refused to kneel. He believed that truth belonged not to the priest or the scholar, but to every soul that suffered. He dreamed of a world where the science of healing would serve the sick, not the powerful, where medicine would once again be sacred. He was not content to heal the body. He sought to heal the world. They called him healer, heretic, magician, and madman. But the same fire that cures can also burn. By the time he reached Basel in 1527, Paracelsus had already shaken the foundations of medicine. His cures astonished the people and humiliated the physicians. He treated not only the fevers and wounds that plagued the poor, but according to his followers, he healed leprosy, cholera, and cancer, diseases which the doctors of his day called incurable. Rumor went further still. Some said he had raised the dead. To his friends, these were signs of divine favor. To his enemies, they were proof of sorcery. The more miracles he performed, the greater their hatred grew. Unable to match his art, they conspired to destroy him, driving him again and again from the towns where his fame had spread. He wandered as a physician without a home, his only country, truth. Even those who admired his genius trembled before his temper. He was proud, merciless, and often cruel to those who opposed him. His scorn for the physicians of Europe was boundless. His contempt for women, a mystery and a wound that biographers have never healed. It is said that there was never a love affair in his life, that he poured all his passion into the furnace of knowledge. His enemies mocked his appearance, spoke of his bodily deformities and of the bitterness they believed they caused. They called him a drunkard, claiming that even during his professorship at the University of Basel, he was seldom sober. Yet such tales falter before the weight of evidence. His writings, immense and complex, fill 3 great volumes in the Strasbourg edition of his collected works, each containing hundreds of pages dictated to his disciples. Could such a mind, so luminous and prolific, have been clouded by constant drink? Even his critics admitted that his mental clarity never dimmed, and that his powers of memory and invention bordered on the miraculous. Still, rumor triumphed where reason failed. Not content to defame him in life, his enemies pursued him into death. They hired assassins, says the old account, to silence the man who had unmasked their corruption. The most credible version tells that in 1541, in Salzburg, Paracelsus was attacked in a tavern brawl, a scuffle provoked by hired blades. He died soon after, from wounds to the skull, on the 24th of September, at the age of 47. Thus the reformer of medicine, the alchemist of the soul, was buried under accusations of madness, sorcery, and vice. But death could not extinguish his flame. His disciples gathered his manuscripts, written mostly from dictation, and preserved his teachings against the darkness of forgetting. Centuries later, Professor John Maxon Stillman of Stanford University looked upon his legacy and wrote, "Whatever be the final judgment as to the relative importance of Paracelsus in the upbuilding of medical science and practice, it must be recognized that he entered upon his career at Basel with faith and the self-assurance of one who deemed himself inspired with a great truth. By nature, he was a keen and open-minded observer, an independent thinker who, once having rejected the authority of Aristotle, Galen, and Avicenna, burned his ships behind him." Stillman added that Paracelsus cut loose from the Galenism of his time and taught that the medicine of the future must rest upon nature, observation, experiment, and experience, not on the dogmas of authors long dead. But he underestimated the power of conservatism. His boldness at Basel brought swift ruin, and from that day forward, he became a wanderer. Sometimes in poverty, sometimes in fleeting comfort, but never without faith that his doctrine would one day prevail. For he believed his science was not opposed to God's will, but part of it, and that in time, nature itself would vindicate his name. The same fire that once burned his books now lights his tomb, and the man they called heretic stands even now as the prophet of modern medicine. Paracelsus was the first to write scientific works in the language of the common people, that all might read and be healed. Through words once reserved for scholars, he spoke to the miners, the widows, and the sick, revealing that the true physician must serve life, not the pride of intellect. He gave his knowledge freely, and his rebellion, oh, it made him an exile in life, made him immortal in death. Yet even in death, he found no peace. His bones were exhumed and reinterred again and again, as if the earth itself refused to decide where his spirit should rest. On his marble tomb in Salzburg, the stone speaks for him still. Here lies buried Philip Theophrastus, the famous doctor of medicine, who cured wounds, leprosy, gout, dropsy, and other incurable maladies of the body, with good and wonderful knowledge, and gave his goods to be divided and distributed to the poor. In the year 1541, 24th of September, to the living, peace, to the sepulchred, eternal rest. 3 centuries later, in 1830, as cholera swept through Austria, the people of Salzburg made a pilgrimage to his grave, imploring their sainted physician to protect them. A.M. Stoddard, in the Life of Paracelsus, wrote of that devotion. To this day the poor pray there. Hohenheim's memory has blossomed in the dust to sainthood, for the poor have canonized him. When cholera threatened Salzburg in 1830, the people made a pilgrimage to his monument and prayed him to avert it from their homes. The dreaded scourge passed away from them and raged in Germany and the rest of Austria. Thus, the man condemned by scholars was canonized by the hearts of the people. Among the myths surrounding his life is one of lineage, that his earliest master was a hidden alchemist known as Solomon Trismosin, a name veiled in legend. Of this man little is known, save that he claimed to have discovered the formula of transmutation, and to have lived to the age of 150 years through the secret art of alchemy. The mystery of the homunculus. Among the most mysterious writings attributed to Paracelsus is the description of the homunculus, the little man, an artificial being said to be generated through alchemical art. In his work, De Natura Rerum, on the Nature of Things, 1537, Paracelsus wrote of creating a human form, not through the womb, but through the secrets of nature and spirit. He claimed that by sealing the seed of life in a glass vessel, nourishing it with the warmth of horse dung, symbol of the earth's hidden fire, and protecting it for 40 days, it would begin to stir, as if alive. But the homunculus was not meant as a literal creature. It was a symbol of the great work itself, the forging of consciousness within the crucible of matter. To Paracelsus, this miniature being represented the microcosm, man recreated by his own will. Later occultists such as Eliphas Levi and Franz Hartmann interpreted the homunculus not as flesh, but as an astral or psychic form, the embodiment of human thought brought to life by intention. Through this mystery, Paracelsus taught that every human soul is itself a homunculus, a spark of the divine, incubated within the vessel of the body, meant to grow until it reflects the image of God. The homunculus is not a monster, but a mirror. For within the heart of man lies the same laboratory where nature and spirit unite to shape the eternal form. Much of the footage you will see throughout this video comes from G.W. Pabst's Paracelsus, 1943. A film that, beyond its time in politics, captures the luminous and terrible path of the alchemist. In this portrayal, Werner Krauss embodies Paracelsus with striking gravity. For those who wish to go deeper into his legend, Paracelsus remains a hidden gem of esoteric cinema. And now, as the fire dims and the philosopher's shadow fades into eternity, we are left with his legacy. Not gold, not stone, but words. 7 rules carved not for scholars, but for souls. These 7 rules, attributed to Paracelsus, are a synthesis of his teaching and doctrine, a distillation of his belief that the true great work begins within, where the human being becomes divine through the alchemy of thought, discipline, and spirit. 1. The first thing is to improve your health. To achieve this, you must breathe as frequently, deeply, and rhythmically as possible, filling your lungs completely, in the open air or standing by a window. Drink 2 liters of water daily, in small sips. Eat plenty of fruits. Chew your food as perfectly as possible, and avoid alcohol, tobacco, and medicine, unless, for grave reasons, you are under treatment. 2. Banish from your mind, no matter the reason, every idea of pessimism, resentment, hatred, boredom, sadness, vengeance, and poverty. Flee as if from the plague, from all occasions involving gossiping, vain, or slanderous people. Observing this rule is of decisive importance. It concerns changing the spiritual structure of your soul. It is the only means of changing your destiny, for destiny depends on our actions and our thoughts. Chance does not exist. 3. Do all the good you can, but take care of your own energies and flee from all sentimentality. 4. Forget every offense, and more than that, strive to think well even of your greatest enemy. Your soul is a temple that must never be profaned by hatred. 5. Every day withdraw for at least half an hour to a place where no one can disturb you. Sit as comfortably as possible, half close your eyes, and think of nothing. This strengthens the soul and spirit and brings you into contact with good influences. 6. Keep absolute silence about all your personal affairs. Abstain, as though under solemn oath, from revealing to others your most intimate matters. Everything you think, hear, know, learn, suspect, or discover. For a long time, be as a walled house or a sealed garden. This rule is of supreme importance. 7. Never fear human beings. Keep your soul strong and pure, and all will go well for you. Never believe yourself alone or weak, for behind you stand powerful hosts beyond what you could conceive, even in dreams. If you raise your spirit, no evil can touch you. The only enemy you must fear is yourself. Fear and distrust of the future are the dark mothers of all failures. They attract evil influences and with them, disaster. Thus spoke the physician of both body and soul. For Paracelsus knew that the great work does not begin in laboratories, but in the heart, where the true elixir of life is distilled. These words have awakened something in you, a thirst for mystery, for the wisdom that hides between science and spirit. Then I invite you to remain with us. Subscribe to Occulta Philosophia so that you may walk again beneath the same eternal flame when, on All Hallows Eve, we unveil our next great arcana,